Welcome to our FHGEN 140 Grammar Guide. We're going to be talking about outlining today. So why do we outline our papers? Outlining is an important part of the writing process. It helps your writing to be organized and thorough. When you have a quality outline, you ensure that you're covering all of the important points that you want to cover. A good outline helps you to organize your material well so you prove your thesis and have good transitions. If you don't have a good outline, you may miss some of the important points in your paper and not even realize it. You may not have your paper organized very well, or your points may not prove your thesis. It's harder to tell if you haven't outlined them and thought about them before you write your paper. Okay, so let's look at some insufficient outlines, or one insufficient outline. A short outline that lacks detail is not going to help you write well. Here's an example of an outline that's not going to lead you to write a very good paper. So the topic is Henry VIII. We're going to talk about early years. He has many wives, and he breaks with the Catholic Church to form the Church of England. This is not a good outline. First of all, it's missing an introduction. What's the thesis? What are we trying to prove? It misses it doesn't include a conclusion. What are we going to say at the end of this paper? So why does this outline not work specifically? So first of all, early years. Well, it's not specific at all. It doesn't give us direction. That's a huge topic, and we're not sure what we're going to cover, in large part because we don't have a thesis in this outline. What part of his early years are we going to cover? What are we going to focus on? So has many wives. Again, this is not specific, and you might have some overlap with other sections, especially if we're talking about Henry VIII's second wife, Anne Boleyn, and then in a completely different section, we're talking about the break with the Catholic Church to form the Church of England. We're going to have some overlap. So how are we going to divide the two of them? How are we going to organize this? Well, this outline doesn't tell us how we're going to do that. The third point, breaks with the Catholic Church to form the Church of England. Again, it's problematic because it's not specific. This is also a huge topic. What are we going to discuss about the Reformation, about that break with the Catholic Church? If we don't have a thesis in our outline, we're not sure what we're going to focus on. Again, it's a huge topic. We don't want to make that mistake. So when we outline, we'll start with a level 1 outline. This is very simple, and it's going to look a little bit like that insufficient outline we talked about just a minute ago. So good outline includes an introduction, a body of the paper, and the conclusion. So we're going to start with this one level outline, listing only the main sections of the paper. So we're going to have an introduction, and this is a short paper, so we're only going to have those three topics in the body of our paper. So introduction, the second part, Henry VIII's early years, the third part, the 6 wives, the fourth part, the break with the Catholic Church, and then we're going to have a conclusion. Well, this has some of the same problems that we were looking at before, but we're going to add to this outline. We've just begun. So we're going to move on to level 2, and we're going to add subsections for each of the main sections. So we have our introduction, and we're going to have 3 subsections in our introduction. And this would be a good thing to have in any paper you write. And so our subsections, we're going to talk about A, our motivation. Why is this work important? You need to ask yourself that when you're writing a paper. B, our objectives or thesis statement. What are we arguing? Why are we writing this paper? What are we trying to prove in this paper? C, organizational overview of the paper. So we want our reader to know what they're expecting to read in the rest of this paper. So this is we've added a level 2 outline, second level to our outline. So we have introduction, A, motivation. Why is this work important? Well, during the 38-year reign of Henry VIII, ideas of kingship and religion were permanently altered. Well, that does seem pretty important. That's a reason to write a biography about him. B, our thesis statement. So this is a possible thesis statement for this paper. Through his self-interested actions, Henry VIII changed government and religion in England. So that's our thesis statement. So everything else is going to be proving our thesis statement. This gives our whole paper direction. Then C, the organization or overview of the paper. What will this paper discuss? So we're going back to those three main topics we had in the beginning. We're going to talk about his early life, the 6 wives of Henry VIII, and the Reformation in England. So we do this with each section that we had in the level 1 outline. Okay, so we're going to take it now to level 3. This third level outline helps us to flesh out details and keep our paper in order. At this point in time, we finally start to visualize what our paper is going to look like. And because you're starting to visualize what your paper is going to look like, you might have to go back. You might have to fix parts of the outline. You might have to reorder your topic. You might say, none of my main topics prove my thesis. Do I need a new thesis? Do I need different topics on my in this paper? Well, this is a much better time to do that than after you've written for hours. So this is a great opportunity for you to think and consider what you're going to be writing and to be able to get it all organized. So we have right here, this is a level 2 outline of our conclusion. So we have, and this should be included in the conclusions you write. We're going to summarize our objectives and the approach of this paper by rewording our thesis. We're going to tell the reader what the important points of the paper were, and then we're going to have a clincher and a meaningful sentence that kind of ties together the whole paper. So let's make this into a level 3 outline. So we've added some subpoints and topics underneath those subpoints. So our summary of objectives and approach of this paper, we're going to say Henry VIII was an important English monarch, and though his policies were motivated by self-interest, Henry VIII's actions changed government and religion in England. The important points of the paper. In our conclusion, Henry VIII's father could be miserly and controlling. After his death, Henry VIII seized control of his own life. That's an important part of his early years. Henry's desire for an heir led him to marry 6 women. These marriages would have major consequences for England. And third, Henry's break with the Catholic Church enriched the crown and changed religion and society in England. And then we'd have a clincher, a sentence that kind of tied together this entire paper. So just to review, in a short paper, we'd have an introduction with those 3 elements, and then we'd have a first topic. Our topic's going to have subsections, and those subsections are going to have paragraph topics. And we'll have, this is a short paper, so we're only going to have 3 topics with subsections and paragraph topics, and then conclusions. Again, a summary of our thesis, the important points of the paper, and a clincher in our conclusion. If we were going to outline this further, especially if it was a longer paper, underneath our paragraph topic, we would have small a, b, and c. We would talk about, we would go more into depth on each one of those topics. Okay, so in conclusion, outlining is a crucial part of a well-written paper, and when we outline well, we're able to better present our thoughts in an organized and thorough manner. It's also a lot easier to write our paper. It's been organized, we've organized ourselves before we've started. It helps us to save time and to write better. So you don't have to use the correct formatting that I showed you, but do not skip your outlining when you're writing a paper. So best of luck in your writing. I hope this helps.